Today on Sammy's Sessions.
All right. Patient name is Maxine Raymond. It is May 2nd, 2023. At approximately 11:35 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My name is Sammy Jackstone. In attendance are myself, Maxine, and Mikey Tomlinson. All right. Dr. Maxine, talk to me.
All right, y'all. Well, I was in a little bit of a predicament the other day.
Okay.
So last Thursday, I was invited to go on a bike ride. And there were several people that were invited to go on a bike ride. We went to a bike ride, went and got bikes. On the way, we helped a couple of people that were brand new to the city that needed some bikes. We brought them bike riding. We took them to the barber shop and whatnot. We went dancing at Medusa because there was an event going on.
Okay.
And there were several of us.
When you say we, okay, several of you. Okay, got it.
There was a few of us.
Okay.
So there was the twins. There were the twins, and then Ivy and Stab.
Okay. You guys go out of comms as well, so people aren't expecting us to work. I think we got to make that a policy, just so you know. All right, go ahead.
Okay.
So the long and the short of it was we were all dancing, and Stab started calling us Stab's Angels, which I thought was funny.
Yeah, kind of cute.
But you know that I used to visit Stab when he did time in jail a long time ago. He was in prison for, I think, 25. And I used to go and do therapy up at the prison with him.
Yep.
And so let's just keep that in mind, okay? So anyway, we're all at this party. We're dancing. We're having a dance off. We're having a great time. And then I guess, you know, there was some slow jams that started to play. And then what we were doing was the four of us were all kind of dancing around Stab. Well, I guess this information the next day got back to his girlfriend, Anastasia, who was not in the city at the time. And I was asked at the hospital the day later to have a conversation.
Okay.
At first, I thought the conversation was just maybe she was like wanting a pregnancy test or something. But she asked me if I could take a break. And I was like, well, what does that mean? Like, what's your definition of break? And she wanted me to take a break. And so, well, I didn't know what was going on, so I stayed on shift. Rocky was on shift. There was a couple other people that were on shift. I can't remember everybody that was here. Mm-hmm. So I got in the car with Anastasia. At the time, Uncle Gino was in town.
Okay.
And we went back to Red's compound. And I realized very quickly that once I was inside the door that this wasn't a friendly visit. So Anastasia proceeded to take me into the basement. And corner me in the basement and start asking me what my relationship is with Frank Stab.
Mm-hmm.
And said that why... Well, actually, I should back up just a little bit. A few days prior to that, Stab realized that he had a daughter. Mm-hmm. So I guess Anastasia was trying to figure out who's the mom. Like, who's you know, the mom.
Okay.
Anyway, long story short, she corners me in the basement. And she is aggressive in nature. She's wanting to know, like, you know, what is my history with him? And at first I said, well, really, history is history. Like, you know, whatever's happened between me and Stab is like nobody's business because you're a new girlfriend, and like really it's not.
Damn, tell him, Maxine. Okay, go ahead.
Not the fucking right thing to say, right?
Probably not. What after you
So
realized it wasn't a friendly conversation?
So she brought me down there, and now I was feeling super threatened. But again, I was still on duty and in comms because I didn't know what was going on, and so I asked Rocky. I said, "I'm just gonna stay on, so you guys know where I am." Like, right? They kept checking in on me through comms, but of course I couldn't answer because she actually I was surprised she didn't take my phone and my radio from me. But it was a little hostile at first. I like to think that I have a nature where I can diffuse situations, which I really had to do in that moment.
For sure.
And so it went on for a bit, and she wanted to know all the history. She wanted to know why I was dancing so close to her man the night before, et cetera, et cetera. And I just said, it was just a dance. We were just dancing, having a good time. There was nothing going on. And she said she didn't believe me. Apparently, she was bringing me down there to knife me in the throat.
Wow.
Now, in the conversation, I told her that I looked at Stab like a brother. And that kind of changed the dynamic. But I was really telling her that to get out of the situation.
Right, because clearly you secretly love him.
My Stab and I are friends, Sammy. No, Sammy.
What? Oh, I was listening.
Yeah. Okay.
What's that? Oh, did I not?
So,
did I say that out loud?
Yeah, that was an outside voice.
Oh shit.
It sure was. Sure fucking was.
Okay, sorry.
So, like it doesn't hit you right away, all the emotions and all the feelings and everything. And they wound up bringing me back. So we wound up being friendly, and she was walked upstairs and she told Stab that she trusts me. And he's like, "Oh, you trust her? Oh, that's good. That's good. You trust her." And I just wanted to get the fuck out of there, and I kept telling them, "Look, I got to go back to the hospital. I got to go back to the hospital." So I got back to the hospital, and I went back to work. I think it hit me a couple days later, where I was really in danger with this woman.
Absolutely.
And the other problem was that Stab's daughter was running around telling everybody that I was her stepmom, which was adding more fuel to the fire.
That doesn't help.
Oh yeah.
Right? You're you're not helping.
Right.
You're not my daughter.
Yeah.
And so I guess Stab's daughter's moved out of town now. I guess she just came. She wanted to find her dad, and she's no longer she's no longer in town. So
Okay.
she's taking a vacation.
Okay.
But in the meantime, I still don't think that Anastasia believes me.
Oh, interesting.
And
interesting.
I'm not going to stop being friends with Stab.
Right.
He's he's buddy. I like going for bike rides with him, and will I do stuff with him alone? No.
Right.
Will I go on a bike ride with him just by myself?
I mean,
no.
not
I'll always
in
make sure
public.
there's a third
Yeah.
party in there, right?
At least make sure it's a secret, for real.
Sammy, you're not helping.
What? Okay, so you won't do things with him that anyone knows about. Got it.
Ain't no fucking way we're doing this right now.
What?
You get paid for this, Sammy?
I'm gonna send you a bill as soon as we're done.
Oh.
So-
But
okay.
all I'm saying is, like, now I feel a little unsafe
Yeah.
sometimes,
Yeah, for
right?
sure.
And you know, the other thing is it brought up a lot of emotions for me when we did that paternity test because um I have a I have a child that
Yeah.
I put up for adoption many years ago
Oh
when
wow.
I was very young. I did put I had a baby. I was young. I was not in a very good state, and I wound up giving the baby for adoption.
Mm.
And I don't know if I had a son or a daughter because
Oh
they took the
wow.
baby from me
That fast.
immediately, that fast. So I have a child out there somewhere.
Wow.
Mhm. I told you it was a lot.
Yeah.
Like that whole paternity test
It probably
situation.
began. Yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely triggered
It's
things.
it's 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 been triggering things, and then of course me being in like an unsafe situation, and I
Yeah.
still don't know if she's gonna, find an opportunity
Sure.
to, stab me in the throat.
Yeah.
I'd like to be friendly and I'd like to be cordial, but I think, at first I think she said she trusts me, but then I think she sort of thought about it later, and I'm not sure that she does trust me.
Sure.
Because someone from Red told me that I should continue to be careful.
Oh wow. Wow.
It's a
Maxine.
lot. Like I
Yeah.
don't know how to navigate all
Yeah.
this shit, right? And all
Yeah.
these emotions
Totally.
and I was terrified in that basement
Absolutely.
because I didn't know if she was gonna I didn't know what she was gonna do. It was
Yeah.
unpredictable situation. I kind of figured that when she was bringing me to the basement that we had a problem,
Sure.
and she just told me to keep moving, like get down here, keep moving, and I was cornered.
Sure. Wow. Well, thank you for sharing. A little jokes aside, that is a lot, and there are quite a few things to kind of unpack. Well, I'd say two major complex things to unpack, and what it feels like is that we're kind of in one of those rare circumstances where multiple complex trauma situations ultimately result in a compound trauma event. And those are all my terminologies, but as a person that's suffered multiple traumas, I know that they can stack and they can become compounded. And in a very short amount of time, you had two very emotionally triggering events. One, just the very natural fight or flight. It's a carnal almost reaction to being put into a corner. Your fight or flight mechanism, your fight or flight response, dictated that you talk your way out of the situation, de-escalate. As soon as you noticed danger, or realized that you weren't there for a friendly conversation, which I actually ventured to say that you realized it before you left the hospital to some degree because you stayed in comms. And so that was something that maybe even subconsciously your natural instinct was kicking in to protect yourself against against the uncertainty that you were facing or walking into in that moment. And so so you have that event, the trauma of going from being someone's friend, being someone's therapist, doing life with someone, to being questioned about that relationship to the point where it could result in the ending of your life. and facing all the things that come with our mortality. Our mortality response in a fight is essentially what triggers the fight or flight mechanism in us, and it makes us realize that this situation can cause us grave harm, and we have to get out of it at all costs. It happens in every animal species that we know of or have ever studied. So it is like coded into our DNA as members of the larger community, whether it's, Homo sapien or, any animalia. So that triggered, and all the while the paternity thing had been being processed in your subconscious, whether you realized it or not. And it's possible that this mortality event caused that other one to essentially solidify. So it was possible for you to actually get a better picture of what exactly was going on there, and both of them are extremely traumatic. The uncertainty of the gender of the child that you trusted in the care of someone who could care when you were not capable of it fully. I want to affirm that decision first of all. Before we even get too much further, it takes an exorbitant amount of courage, to courage and empathy and consideration and denying of oneself and selflessness to make the decision to essentially foster or put a child up for adoption when you are not yourself the best version for that child. So I want to affirm that decision. I cannot imagine how many times that decision has caused you pain, caused you grief, caused you suffering over the course of your life. But walking into a room where there's a female curious about her mom, or her dad in particular, in this particular case, it had to make you wonder what that was like for your kid, or what that journey has been like for your kid. So I'm sure also probably reopening, any wound that had even partially begun to heal over the course of however many years it's been.
You stuff it down, right? You stuff
Absolutely.
it down, and you don't think about it.
Absolutely.
But when we did that paternity test, and Frank Stab found out that he had a daughter,
right?
I can only imagine the friction that caused for Anastasia, his girlfriend, to start questioning things. And the one thing I did get out of all of it was to see how really insecure she is in her relationship with him.
Oh, sure.
And so, I did talk to him about that, not at length, but just like reassure her, like spend time with just her, like maybe take some time. But when it brought up all those emotions about all the time that I've lost with the baby that I had.
Yeah.
Where is this baby? Who is this baby?
Yeah.
Where are they? What are they doing with their life? Are they happy? Are they safe? What was their, I missed out on everything.
Yeah. Well, you did miss out on everything, but you gave that child the best possible chance at happiness in that immediate moment. There's nothing that could have There's nothing about, when we're in those moments and making those really hard decisions in our life, and our back is against the wall, and we have to make very difficult decisions for the ones that we love. It's not always quite. It would have been impossible to find out or know that you would eventually have, become a doctor and become, I'm not sure what your financial situation was at the time, but I'm sure that it's better now. There's no way to have known any of those things. And to be honest with you, there's no way to really know that would be your current story also had you become a mother at that young age. And so there is a consoling mechanism or consolation, if you will, that you made a difficult decision, and it was the best one that you knew to make at the time. And whether you have the opportunity to meet your son or daughter, in this stage of life, they would be meeting a completely different, more healthy, more established mom than they may have gotten, emotionally balanced, mom than they may have gotten then. And I could not imagine, the pain that it's caused you, but it's my hope that the decision that you made was the best one for that child at the time. Not understanding, where and how and, all the details, right, of the situation, is tough. It really is tough. And, in your line of work, it may not be the last time that you come across that, you encounter that feeling, or it may not be the last time that this triggers, emotions that are similar to this.
Well, every time I deliver a baby,
Yeah.
the emotions,
Sure.
come to the surface,
Sure.
right?
Yeah. And I think that it's important to understand that that the work that you're doing is giving back to that same space, like delivering babies, advocating for their health, advocating for their well development. One thing that I when we had the situation the other day with a certain doctor impounding a car out from underneath a pregnant woman. That was you, advocating for a person that is with child, and that's becoming a mother. And so I think that you have turned a tragedy in your life, and that's what that is. It is a tragedy to be estranged from your kid. It's a deviation from what the normal path, could have been, should have been, would have been. But you have taken that and you've spun it into something very powerfully positive, very powerful, where you have opportunity to advocate for kids, and you have an ability, and you're in a position now to advocate better for mothers and advocate better for the health and the care that they receive, all the way up to becoming a mother and continued. Because OBGYN, a lot of your work comes prior to that baby entering the world. And I'm thankful that you've shared that with me, because it kind of closes the gap a little bit. It kind of fills in some of the blanks as to why you are so good, so empathetic, so thorough with these mothers that come through this hospital. Because a lot of the work comes before, and a lot of the conversation and support it's important for them to know that they have that, and you champion that very well. So I want to.
Thank you, Sammy.
I want to, again, kind of affirm that. And through something very tragic, you have turned it into something very beautiful. And I am, I'm going to venture to say that your kid would be very proud of you for what you've done for this particular space. So,
Well, and to take this further, I'm looking for that child.
okay. I think that's a fair next step, given everything. I want to make sure that you do feel like you're emotionally prepared to take that step. And I will walk with you on that journey, as I'm sure Mikey will, as I'm sure Zach will, as I'm sure the entire EMS team will.
Absolutely.
We got your back on that.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
we'll do anything that we can to support you in that, good, bad, and indifferent. Because there could be some, there often. As we've seen as therapists with adopted children, there can be some animosity there. There can be. It takes time, patience, empathy, and a lot of conversation to navigate that process. So I'd be, more than happy, more than willing to support you through that journey.
Thank you.
Whatever I can do, just let me know.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
As far as your being feeling of danger, or feeling like you're being endangered by trauma number 1, or I guess it's technically trauma number 2, but anything we can do to make sure that you feel protected, safe. If you need someone to ride with you during calls, if that's something you need, or whatever it is that you think that you need there, just let us know also, so that we can support you as well. Even if it's just someone coming with you to go places or whatever, run errands or whatever, we can make sure that we at least walk side by side with you in that. And look, if there's a way that I could help with getting kind of you two in a room, you two and Stab, I think that you're smart enough to know who could, should, would be in a therapy session, and when and how it could be beneficial or not. So you just tell me how we can do that, and if we can do that, I'd love to help walk you guys through that as well. Even if it's down to even if it's just you and Anastasia sitting in a room saying, kind of like fleshing out some of the details. Here's what I will say about her.
If
You can expect the insecurity to be there for someone who has walked with their man longer than they have, just naturally, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think we have our work cut out for us on a couple different fronts. One, to consistently check in around, some of the PTSD stuff that may occur based on facing your mortality. Two, looks like we have a pretty hefty project to look at for figuring out how to support you through, looking for your son or daughter, and trying to find them, support them through that process. And then trying to, I think ultimately, like what I was telling Mikey before, is trying to figure out if you and Stab were secret lovers ever. You know what I'm saying? Like the song might have been true, right? The song might have been true, and you don't have to tell us now.
Well.
Okay, but you can.
No, maybe we'll save that for another. Maybe I think we've covered a lot today.
We have covered a lot, and I don't want to. I don't want you to feel like you're oversharing, because sometimes sharing in general can give us. I call it a share hangover. where you begin to kind of fear some of the things that people may know about you or about your story. So let's
Right.
let's stop. We don't have to go any further for today. But yeah, I definitely would love to make sure that we probably have a couple sessions a week for the foreseeable future, and
sounds good.
keep me apprised as to anything that that happens or develops with the search.
Okay.
Is this something that you'd want to share with the team, or should we hold off on that?
The team is, I don't mind the team knowing, as long as they're not, I don't want things to like blow up in my face. I mean, I don't know if my child is looking for me. I
Sure.
don't know. I mean, I don't know any of that right now.
Yeah.
I mean, my goal is to be reunited and to, support, son or daughter, in their, well, they'd be adults now.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm sure, I don't know if they're angry. I don't know if they're, understanding,
Sure.
or I don't know who they are.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know who they are.
Yeah, I thought that that your case in particular is very unique because you don't actually there's no one that you can rule out,
no, like anybody could be.
Anybody that kind of fits that age range. And what would the age range be at this point?
23.
Oh, okay. So basically within that 25 years that he was locked up. Anyways, okay. So 23 years old. So anyone that 23, male or female, that we don't know. A lot of times you kind of have the ability to say, "Oh yeah, it's a girl." Like I know I had a boy, But
yeah, they whisked that baby away from me real fast.
Yeah. Okay. Well, allow us to support you in this.
Thank you.
We'll
appreciate that.
we'll walk with you, and make sure that we are, anything that you need from us, let us know.
Yeah, Mikey can come to the next therapy session. I mean,
Okay.
I'd love to.
Sure.
I'd love to hear what what he thinks.
Absolutely.
What are you thinking, Monkey?
So yeah, I mean, a lot of what Dr. Sammy's already said, I think, is spot on. I think you've got a lot of different, situations that you're trying to navigate, while protecting yourself physically and mentally, making sure you don't become overwhelmed, making sure, you're just physically safe. I think it's a great idea for you to ask people to join you if you are going out on errands or out on runs, just for your protection, because like you said, that conversation was very aggressive, and you obviously your spidey sense was tingling. Remained in
Well,
calm
I've
while
seen
you
the
were
way
out.
that she's treated Stab, right? Like, and then like I was never formally introduced to her, but he told me, he took me aside and he said he had a girlfriend, and I was like, oh, good. What's her name? And he told me her name, and then the next time I saw them together, she was kind of a little aggressive with him. And I was surprised that he was, allowing it,
Kind of taking
so to speak. Right.
Taking it on the chin.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know, anything about the relationship, but
Yeah.
I mean, he showed up at the end of the conversation, and wanted to make sure that I was okay, but then again, he wanted to, attend to her as well, right? So I think that it was a situation where he was put in a situation where I think it was a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah, awkward
for everybody, and I couldn't say it like enough that I needed to go back to the hospital.
Yeah.
Without going like, let me the fuck out of here. I gotta go back to the hospital.
Right. Right. Wow.
They ultimately brought me back.
In one
but
piece.
I mean, I was to try and hold my
Mm-hmm.
composure during all of that was like, whoa, well, goddamn.
Yeah, that's tough.
Yeah, it
Well,
sounds like you did
well.
a great job, though.
Mm-hmm.
I tried, and it's just been a lot. It's been on my mind. And then the whole paternity thing just brought up a whole lot of emotions.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So.
Well.
And then going to Honey's baby reveal.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like everything is just triggering right now.
Sure.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm glad I've got Mikey and Zach for these deliveries, because I think I might need to lean on you guys a little bit now.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's why we're here.
All right. Well, let's get you back safely again. I'll
Thank
try not
you,
to
you
crash.
guys. I appreciate it.
Of course. I wonder what would happen if I ate a cookie and then tried to fly.
Oh, snap.
Oh, you gonna try that right now, or are you gonna crash into the hospital on purpose and make them rescue us again?
I don't know. Who knows? Anything's
That'd be
possible.
hilarious.
I'm eating a cookie.
Oh shit.
Let's find out.
Oh my gosh, I can't see anything.
Oh no.
Oh my.
Oh my gosh. I cannot see anything. Oh, am I going in the right direction?
Come on.
Oh,
Mikey, I think we're going down.
okay, I can see again. I can see again.
Going for a little joyride.
Crash into the hospital. Shit. Nice, Sammy. Woo. Beautiful landing.
Beautiful.
Hey, thanks.
Awesome.
All right. A full day of Sammy sessions in the books, baby.
Yeah.
I'm glad to be a part of it. Thanks for everything, both of you.
Oh man, thank you for sharing with us.
It's a lot, right?
You're the brave one.
Yeah.
I'm trying.
Truly.
I'm trying.